Hello and welcome to our review of Reboot, which still doesn't have a name, but that's okay. I'm Paul,
And I'm Dave.
and this week we are discussing the episode Medusa Bug, which originally aired October 8th, 1994, and certainly was an episode. Alrighty. Dave, number one film in America this week.
Yeah, and when the films around that time.
I would be a little surprised if you've seen this, because I'm not familiar with it.
Okay. Well, nothing is immediately coming to mind. And my usual trick of thinking of the seasonal time of releases and whatnot. There's no big Halloween movie that I can think of that would have came out at around that time that I could think of. Mm.
I'm just going to tell you because you're not going to get it. I'm just going to save you right now. It's called The River Wild. It's a thriller movie about a couple who go on this rafting thing.
Now, understandable again from the title, but pretty much mostly just the case of either old movies that I remember watching that had a particular scene like that, but nothing specifically with that complete story idea.
Yeah, and then they get taken hostage and stuff. Yeah, it's I haven't seen it, but it has a decent cast. It's Meryl Streep and Kevin Bacon and John C. Riley. There's people in this. It might be decent.
Oh, there you go. What did it look like box office wise?
So it actually did quite well. So on a budget of 45 million, it did 94.2.
Oh, there you go.
So that's not half bad. Anyway,
Whether or not it was by name recognition and or advertising, who knows?
number one song in America is still "I'll Make Love to You" by Boys to Men, and that's
Yeah.
not going to change anytime soon.
Yeah.
Alrighty, moving on to the episode. Okay, so Megabyte steals this secret doohickey from Hexadecimal, which turns out to be this virus bug thingy.
Yes.
It's called the Medusa, and it spreads throughout mainframe, turning everything it touches into stone.
Yes.
Okay, this is a cool concept. Boy.
But from the sounds of it, you have issues.
I okay. I'm totally into this episode until the 20-minute mark, and then I go, "Oh fuck me senseless with the broom handle."
Okay. So again, build up issue of the breakout of the bug and the couple times of trying to resolve the issue to protecting everyone from it is okay, but the last little bit of it was kind of like, hmm, hmm.
The yeah, the build up and everything is super good, and then the solution is lame as fuck.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of the case of, well, we had a good run, but let's go ahead and end the series at episode 4.
I just wish they could have come up with something better, or I feel like this should have been a two-part episode where they came up with some kind of a better solution. Because the build-up's really cool because we see all of mainframe getting turned into stone, and all the little programs, and the dog, which I can't remember its name, gets turned into stone, and all the characters are getting turned into stone, and that's really cool. And it's a really cool build-up. How's Bob gonna save the day? And then he saves the day in the lamest way possible.
Yes, yes.
What did you think of the episode, Dave? Before we get into the solution, because the solution's lame, but the build-up's cool.
Duly noted. With this particular one, I have a fairly decent memory of it. Again, with the specific time of when the show was airing, when I first discovered the show. This was usually one of the ones that I've seen multiple times when actually tuning in to watch the show. And first time watching it, oh my gosh, how's it going to turn out? And end reaction, I'm not too sure, because again, it was a couple years back. But nevertheless, it was one of the episodes that always I remember fairly well, mostly because it was a hexadecimal episode. And it's just like, yee, so much fun.
Yes, If Hexadecimal was not in this episode, it would be absolutely unwatchable.
Yeah, yeah.
Look, Hexadecimal is a great character, and I don't remember who plays her, but they are absolutely chewing the scenery in the best way possible.
Well, of course. I suppose the best way to sort of explain it is with the two main enemies within the story. Megabyte is the orderly, uh, army style sort of villain with his thoughts, plans, and other sorts of things. Hexadecimal, just depending on how she feels that day, would determine how bad she would supposedly be. Some days she's cool for just hanging out on her island. Other days she decides to take a stroll and destroy half of the system.
Yeah, so I just want to say it. So the actress who plays Hexadecimal is named Shirley Milliner.
Mm.
She's done like a bunch of other like My Little Pony and a bunch of other like animated stuff. A lot of stuff I don't recognize, and some stuff that I absolutely do, because she did a voice for Dragon Tales.
Interesting.
And RoboCop
Ooh.
on the Mega Man series. Oh my god. Okay. Anyway,
Yes, anyway. So, to spoil the particular ending of the story, most of the entire system gets completely petrified from this bug, except for Bob. Because of his status as a guardian, he has immunities to certain viral infections and other sorts of things. So, our only characters left are now Bob and Hexadecimal, which Hexadecimal doesn't mind. She likes Bob, so being alone with him is very much a fun time. But then Bob brings up the fact that now that everything is completely set in stone, everything will be perfect and quiet, and there's nothing else that can supposedly be done. And Hexadecimal does not like this. She just kind of goes ahead, snaps her fingers, and gets rid of the bug.
it's the lamest solution ever.
It kind of is. Though it does have a particular interesting scene of her admiring all of the petrified statues of people, as well speaking to her henchman Scuttles, which also got petrified, and just admiring the statues, though some of them are falling apart and being destroyed. And then asking Scuttles, "Does it please you?" He says nothing. "I asked you a question!" He still says nothing. It's like, oh, well, whatever. Sends him off. It's like, yeah, most likely, even if Bob didn't intervene, she'd probably be like, well, I'm bored now, and just snap her fingers anyway. You know, I can somewhat understand your disdain for the episode with how it went, and even more so with the concept of the idea. But with watching this episode again, and with the knowledge that I do have, they're they're gonna be running this concept again, and they're gonna do it so much better the second time round.
I would hope so, because you can't do it worse. I like in theory, like I said, 90% of this episode is really good, and then it gets let down on a really crappy ending.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, the solution is he basically just asks nicely. I guess he
Yeah.
sort of tricks her, but like, yeah, it wasn't great. But the rest of the episode was fun. I liked a lot of the other stuff.
Oh, and additionally, before we close out, the one particular defense that the entire system has for any sort of bug that's happening is an eraser.
Oh, yeah, I did enjoy that. But they did strap something to it. I forget what there was like a screen on it when he threw it down.
Yes, the additional add-on to it, it's like, it'll maybe work. Throws it down, nukes pretty much the sector there, and it's like, hooray, it worked! And then it just implodes on itself, and it's like, ooh, did not work.
Yeah. This episode was not my favorite, as you can probably tell.
Nah, it's understandable. Again, it was probably a decent enough idea, but whether or not it was just kind of half-baked or didn't quite go as planned with how they decided to do it, there's only so much that can be done, supposedly.
Oh, now I don't have any evidence to back this, but I almost wonder if there wasn't like a last minute rewrite on this because like standards and practices where like you can't do something.
Uh,
That kind, because I know they've referenced standards and practices in the previous episode, so I'm like, maybe there was like an issue there where there was something they had planned that then all of a sudden ABC came back and said you can't do that on a kids show.
mm,
Because
possibly.
that would maybe make some sense, but yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of this.
Hmm.
However, next week we'll be discussing the episode The Tiff, the Toronto International Film Festival.
Ooh.
If only.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Let's see what this episode brings. Hopefully, it will be better than this one. Although it does sound interesting because Bob and Dot are going to have an argument, and Enzo's going to try schemes to rekindle their friendship, and then a Starship Alcatraz game is going to force the two to work together. So that might actually be kind of fun
Interesting.
because I want to see what Starship Alcatraz is. Alrighty, so until next time, I'm Paul.
And I'm Dave.